Hello, hello, hello. Hey, everybody. You having a good time? Do you love David Bowie? Good, because you're going to get a lot of David Bowie. Have any of you ever worked with David Bowie? None? Really? There's a couple there. I'm expecting to see more hands than that. Well, my name is Adrian Belew. I've been asked to come and introduce our next band. I haven't heard the band, but I know they're going to be sensational because they're going to play tons and tons of David Bowie music, and to do that, you have to be good. I know that much. I want to say thank you to Saul Zanana and Saul Zanana's new band. I'm sorry I was a little late on that one, Saul. I was trying to think of what I say next. There you go. I actually worked with David Bowie 2 times. Both times we did a world tour, which was a hell of a lot of fun. And I don't want to take up a lot of time, but would you like to know how I ended up working with David Bowie?
Minimum wage, right, Adrian? Minimum wage.
Is it safe?
This one seems to sound better.
I'm going to have to grow a little bit here, but... Alright, so I was on tour of Europe with Frank Zappa. He discovered me here in Nashville in a little biker bar, and before I knew it, there I was, touring the world with Frank Zappa. We were in Cologne, Germany, and unbeknownst to me, in the audience was a man named Brian Eno. You probably know who he is too. Brian knew that David Bowie was looking for a new guitarist for his upcoming tour. So he called David and said, "You've got to go see Frank Zappa's band. There's a young guitar player in there you should see." The next night we played in Berlin, and unbeknownst to me, David was there. So there was a part of the show where Frank took a long guitar solo with just a bass player and the drummer. Everyone else in the band would leave, for like 10 minutes. I would usually just go over and, change a costume or something. But I looked over at the soundboard and I saw David Bowie and Iggy Pop standing there at the monitor board.
That's fucking insane, dude.
I've got to say something. So I went over and I shook David's hand and I said, "Hello, David. I'd like to thank you very much for all the music you've given the world." And he said, "Great, how'd you like to be in my band?" And I said, "Well, I'm kind of playing with that guy out there." He said, "That's okay, I know, your tour ends in 2 weeks and mine starts 2 weeks after that. Let's go after your show and we'll talk about this." Okay, sounds great. After the show, I went back to the hotel, and in the lobby, David Bowie was sitting there with his assistant. Her name is Coco Schwab, and she's been with David as long as I've known him. She came over kind of casually to me, like she wasn't really talking to me, and said, "Get in the elevator." I said, "What?" She said, "Get in the elevator." Okay, so I got in the elevator, and they both got in the elevator. And then they started talking. They said, "Well, we got to be careful with what we say and things, David and everything, so we want to keep this secret." So I thought, "Wow, this is fun. This is like a spy movie or something, So they said, "What we want you to do is, we'll get out of the elevator, and you go up to your room and come back down about a minute or 2, and come outside, and there'll be a car waiting there. We'll go have dinner somewhere." Wow, that's cool. So I did exactly all of that stuff. Came out, went and got in this car with David Bowie, and we were going to go to a restaurant in Berlin. There must be 30,000 restaurants in Berlin. We were going to go to one that he liked. And we were trying to be very secretive. So we drove for a while. We went to this restaurant. And we walked in the door, And at the very first table, there was Frank Zappa and the rest of the band. So we were busted. So, you know, we sat down with Frank, and it was very kind of embarrassing, but David started trying to engage Frank in conversation. And it went something like this. Here's David. You've got quite a nice guitar player here, Frank. Here's Frank. Fuck you, Captain Tom. No, really, Frank. I mean, you know, I think, you know, he's a very good player. Fuck you, Captain Tom. Well, come on now. We can talk about this like gentlemen, can't we? Fuck you, Captain Tom. This was the extent of the whole conversation. And so we eventually got up and left and walked outside, and David said, I thought that went rather well. That's how I got in his band. So, couldn't ask for a better audition. So now we've got this band coming up. Wham Bam! Thank you, ma'am. Wham Bam, the Bowie tribute band. And I can tell you from my years of playing David Bowie movie that it's music. It's a very courageous thing they're doing. I can't wait to hear it. Because David's music always changed from record to record, the production, the sound. Sometimes he had backup singers or saxophones or strings or whatever. So for one band to play a lot of his music is really challenging. I'm really anxious to hear it.
Thanks, Adrian.
This is Aaron Price. He's in the band. He plays keyboards. This is Brett Spivey.
The sexy one.
You look like you just got off a tour with David Bowie.
I wish.
And you play
Bass.
He's actually David Bowie's masseuse.
Yes.
Brett plays bass. Now, the friend of mine that I've known for a while, Andre Chumley, he plays guitar. This is going to be fun. And our drummer, Zach Alberto. How come drummers get all the cool names? Mortimer Snerd. And he's got a beard too. He looks like one of the Muppets. Terry Bozzio. I don't know about that name. Anyway.
Okay, we're going this way right now.
And of course, if you're going to have a Bowie tribute band, you better have a great singer. And it would really help if he was from England. And we actually have that. There he is. I'm sorry. Mark Casson. See, I kept wanting to say Casson. Mark Casson. I love it. So, with no further ado, let's have a party. Let's listen to David Bowie's band. Here it is. Wham Bam!
Thank you, man.
The one and only Adrian Belew.
Yeah.
While we plug in, I want to quickly say thanks to Souls and Nana for bringing us out here. Yeah, the Souls and Nana.